Memories of Childhood, Episode 4, The Kite Beneath the Blue Sky, Part 1, Waiting for the Wind. There was something magical about the afternoons of a Vietnamese summer. The sun no longer burned as fiercely as it had at noon. Instead, its golden light spread gently across the rice fields, turning every blade of grass into a tiny ribbon of light. The shadows of bamboo trees stretched lazily along the village paths, while a warm breeze wandered quietly through the fields, carrying with it the scent of ripening rice, wildflowers, and the familiar fragrance of earth that had been warmed by the sun all day. It was during those peaceful afternoons that the village seemed to breathe differently. The cicadas were still singing from the old trees, but their voices no longer filled the air with excitement as they had at midday. Instead, they became part of the landscape, like the whisper of the wind or the flowing river that had always been there. Birds flew low across the fields. Water buffaloes returned slowly from the muddy paddies, and smoke began to rise gently from distant kitchens, promising another simple family dinner before sunset. But for us, children, the afternoon held another promise. It was the promise of wind. Not every afternoon was windy enough for flying kites. Some days, we waited patiently beneath the shade of the banyan tree, watching the leaves, hoping they would begin to dance. We learned, without anyone teaching us, that nature could never be hurried. The wind would arrive when it was ready, not when we demanded it. Perhaps that was one of the first lessons childhood quietly gave us. Some beautiful things cannot be forced. They can only be welcomed. Whenever someone noticed the first gentle breeze moving across the rice fields, excitement spread through the village faster than the wind itself. The wind is coming. That simple announcement was enough. Children appeared from every direction, carrying bamboo kites that had been carefully hidden inside their homes, waiting for this exact moment. Some kites were large, decorated with bright paper that shimmered beneath the afternoon sun. Others were small and simple, their paper already patched from countless adventures in previous summers. No two kites looked exactly alike, just as no two dreams are ever the same. Many of those kites had been made by loving hands. Some fathers patiently bent thin strips of bamboo late into the evening after finishing a long day in the fields. Mothers carefully glued colorful paper over the delicate frames, while younger brothers and sisters watched with wide, curious eyes. Sometimes the kite wasn't perfectly balanced. Sometimes one wing was slightly larger than the other. But none of that mattered, because love has a way of making imperfect things beautiful. I still remember holding my own kite with both hands, afraid that even the smallest mistake might damage it before it ever touched the sky. The bamboo felt smooth beneath my fingers. The paper was so thin that sunlight could almost pass through it. The long tail rested quietly on the ground, waiting for the wind that would soon bring it to life. Looking at it now through the eyes of an adult, I realize that a kite is a remarkable thing. It is little more than bamboo, paper, string, and hope. Yet somehow, when the wind embraces it, those ordinary materials become something extraordinary. Perhaps people are not so different. Sometimes all we need is a little encouragement, a little kindness, or someone who believes in us. And suddenly, we discover that we, too, are capable of soaring far beyond what we once imagined. The breeze grows a little stronger. The rice plants begin to sway together like gentle green waves. A boy tightens the string around his small wooden spool. A little girl laughs as she holds her kite close against her chest. Everyone looks toward the open field. No one speaks. Everyone waits, because every child knows the most beautiful moment is not when the kite is already high above the clouds. It is this quiet moment before it leaves the ground. The moment when your heart is full of hope and the whole sky seems to be waiting with you. Far across the field, another breeze begins to rise. The paper tails flutter softly. The bamboo frames tremble ever so slightly. The wind has finally arrived, and with it, another unforgettable memory is about to begin.
The Kite Beneath the Blue Sky, Part 2. When Dreams Learn to Fly. The first gust of wind arrives so gently that for a brief moment, only the leaves of the bamboo grove seemed to notice it. They swayed softly, whispering to one another, as though sharing an old secret that only nature could understand. Then the tall grasses along the edge of the rice fields began to ripple like gentle waves, moving farther and farther until the entire landscape seemed to breathe as one. The wind had finally come. Without anyone giving an order, every child instinctively stood up. Conversation stopped. Laughter faded into eager smiles. Small hands tightened around wooden spoons, wrapped with cotton string,
while bright eyes turned toward the endless blue sky stretching above the village. There was always a quiet excitement in those few seconds before a kite took flight. It was impossible to describe. Your heart beat a little faster. Your feet felt ready to run. Your eyes watched every movement of the wind, hoping it would choose your kite next. Someone shouted, "Run!"
And suddenly the peaceful field burst into life. Children ran across the soft earth with all the strength their little legs could offer. Some laughed as they ran. Some concentrated so seriously that they forgot to smile. The kite bounced once, twice, then trembled gently as the wind caught its fragile wings. For a heartbeat, it seemed uncertain whether it would fall back to the ground or continue climbing. Then, almost like magic, it lifted. Slowly at first, then higher, and higher still. The string grew tighter in our hands, while the kite became lighter with every passing second, as though it had suddenly remembered that it belonged to the sky. Every child looked upward with the same expression: wonder, pure wonder. We weren't thinking about tomorrow. We weren't thinking about school, homework, or growing up. We were simply watching something beautiful happen before our eyes. And somehow, that was enough. As more kites joined the sky, the afternoon transformed into a living painting. Red kites, blue kites, yellow ones dancing beside white clouds. Some soared confidently. Others wobbled awkwardly before finding their balance. A few stubborn little kites refused to fly at all, making everyone laugh before another attempt began. No one was embarrassed. Failure was simply part of learning how to fly. Perhaps childhood understood something that adulthood often forgets. Falling was never the opposite of flying. Sometime, it was simply the beginning. I often think about those bamboo kites now. They were made from the simplest materials: a few thin strips of bamboo, sheets of colorful paper, a roll of string, nothing expensive, nothing extraordinary. Yet when love built them and hope carried them, they became something unforgettable. Isn't life much the same? We spend so many years believing that happiness comes from having more. A bigger house, a better job, more possessions, more success. But when I think about the happiest afternoons of my childhood, I remember none of those things. I remember standing barefoot in a rice field, holding a spool of string, watching a handmade kite dancing freely beneath an endless Vietnamese sky. And somehow, in that simple moment, I felt richer than I have ever felt since. Perhaps true wealth has never been measured by what we own. Perhaps it has always been measured by what fills our hearts. The afternoon breeze grew steadier. Our kites climbed even higher until they looked like tiny birds floating peacefully above the village. Below them, we continued running through the fields, laughing until our voices disappeared into the wind. The world felt wonderfully small. The sky felt wonderfully endless, and every dream seemed possible. Even today, whenever I see a kite floating silently above an open field, I do not simply see paper and bamboo. I see courage. I see innocence. I see every child who once believed that the sky was close enough to touch. Perhaps that child still lives quietly inside each of us, waiting for another gentle breeze, waiting for another chance to believe. The sun is beginning its slow journey toward the western hills. The golden light grows softer with every passing minute. The wind continues to carry the kites higher into the afternoon sky. But somewhere beyond the fields, another beautiful moment is quietly waiting. The evening has not yet arrived, and neither has the most unforgettable memory of this summer day. Part 3, Where Our Dreams Still Fly. The afternoon was slowly giving itself to the evening. The sunlight, once bright and playful, had become softer now, wrapping the village in a warm golden glow. The rice field shimmered gently beneath the fading light, while the breeze continued its quiet dance across the open land, never asking for attention, yet touching everything it passed. Above us, the kites were still flying. Some had climbed so high that they looked like tiny birds resting peacefully between the clouds. Others floated lower, swaying gently, as if they were reluctant to leave the children who had sent them into the sky. No one wanted the afternoon to end. There was something about those summer evenings that made time feel different. The world seemed to slow down. The laughter became softer. The running became walking. Even the wind seemed to carry a little more kindness. One by one, the children sat down along the grassy edge of the rice fields, still holding tightly to the strings of their kites. No one was in a hurry. No one spoke very much. Sometimes, the most beautiful memories are born in silence. We watched the sky together. Clouds drifted lazily toward the horizon, their edges glowing with shades of gold, pink, and orange. Birds flew home in graceful lines, disappearing behind rows of bamboo that had stood quietly beside the village for generations. Far away, smoke began to rise from the rooftops. Somewhere, a mother was preparing dinner. The familiar scent of wood fire mixed with the fragrance of rice fields and wild grass, creating a feeling that no perfume in the world could ever replace. It smelled like home. Looking back now, I often wonder why those evenings remained so vivid after all these years. Was it because the sky was more beautiful? Was the wind gentler? Or was it simply because, as children, we knew how to be completely present? We never watched the sunset while thinking about tomorrow. We never looked at the clouds while worrying about the future. We never measured happiness. We simply lived inside it. Perhaps that is the greatest gift childhood ever gave us. the ability to love an ordinary moment without realizing how precious it truly was. As adults, we often spend our lives chasing extraordinary experiences. We travel farther. We work harder. We search endlessly for something bigger, brighter, and more exciting. Yet if someone asked me where peace has visited me most faithfully, my answer would never be a famous city or a distant country. It would always be that quiet rice field, that gentle summer breeze, that handmade bamboo kite dancing beneath an endless Vietnamese sky. Because peace has never needed luxury. It has always loved simplicity. The wind continued to carry our kites across the evening sky, but sooner or later, every child knew it would be time to bring them home. Slowly, we began winding the string back onto the wooden spool. The kites descended gracefully, as though thanking the wind for carrying them so faithfully. When my kite finally touched the earth again, I remember holding it with unexpected tenderness. It had not changed. It was still made of bamboo, paper, and string. But somehow, after touching the sky, it felt different. Perhaps we feel the same after every beautiful memory. Life may look exactly as it did before, yet something inside us has quietly grown. The sun slipped gently beyond the horizon. The first evening stars began to appear. The cicadas, who had accompanied us throughout the day, slowly gave way to the gentle chorus of crickets hidden among the grasses. The village became peaceful once again. Children carried their kites home across the little dirt road, their footsteps lighter than the fading daylight behind them. Tomorrow, if the wind returned, the kites would fly again. But even if they didn't, the dream had already been planted. Because every child who once stood beneath a wide blue sky, watching a simple bamboo kite disappear among the clouds, carried home something far more precious than paper and string. They carried hope, and hope has always known how to find its way back to the sky. Thank you, my dear friend, for walking beside me once again through another beautiful memory. If someday life feels heavy and the road ahead seems uncertain, I hope you will remember a quiet summer afternoon in a small Vietnamese village where a handmade kite taught us that we do not rise because we are stronger than the wind. We rise because we learn to trust it, and perhaps there is still a kite waiting patiently inside your heart. Our journey through childhood continues. Beyond these peaceful fields, another memory is quietly flowing toward us. Can you hear it? The gentle sound of water, the laughter of children along the riverbank, the cool embrace of a river that has watched generations grow. Until then, look up whenever you see the open sky. Some dreams never truly disappear. They simply wait, like a kite, for the wind to carry them home once again. I'll see you in our next memory.